Do you think war starts with the first bullet? Or when a politician screams behind a podium? You are wrong. That's just the news lullaby to put you to sleep. The reality is much scarier and much more precise. The great wars of history were not designed in generals' rooms. They were designed in secret temples and by the movement of stars. World War I, II, September 11th, all of these were just a math formula. A formula called the sacred geometry of blood. Do you think aircraft carriers came for protection? Do you think gold prices broke records for no reason? No. Right now, as you are watching this video, the biggest military movement of the century has happened in silence. The Pentagon calls it deterrence, but secret lodges call it the sacrifice ritual. Today, I don't want to read the news. I want to give you a code hidden on the dollar in your pocket. Look at your watches. The hands are getting close to February 17th. Welcome to 0 Hour. Let's look at the calendar without censorship. Why are all eyes fixed on mid-February 2026? Because on this day, the sky is going to get dark. An annular solar eclipse is coming, what ancient texts call the Ring of Fire. For you and me, this might just be a shadow on the sun. But for those who run the world with symbols, for architects who set their decisions by the stars, this is not an astronomical event. This is a portal, the symbol of the black sun. History doesn't lie to us. Every time this specific shape formed in the sky, the Middle East shook. Is the energy of this black sun going to be activated by blood on the ground this time too? We are not prophets, but we are not stupid to ignore the patterns. Let's leave the sky and look at the ground. Exactly as we get close to this date, the Abraham Lincoln Strike Group has taken battle formation, not for drills and not for show. When they bring B-52 bombers and field hospitals to the region, it means they are waiting for something beyond diplomacy. They have set the stage. The actors are in their places, and they are just waiting for the universe's clock to ring. But the main question is, who really pulls the trigger? Do you think presidents in the White House or Kremlin decide? Don't be simple. They are just signing pens. Actors who perform dictated lines in front of the camera. The control room is somewhere else. We are talking about people whose names are not on the Forbes rich list because their wealth cannot be calculated. The crowned families without crowns, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Morgans. People who have made the world's central banks their personal piggy banks. Turn the pages of history. Who lent money to both sides in the world wars? Who sold steel and oil to the Nazis and the Allies at the same time? For these families, war is not a tragedy. War is business. And today their new monsters have entered the field. Companies like BlackRock and Vanguard. Let me tell you a scary truth. These companies own the missile factories and at the same time own the news networks that scare you about those missiles. It's a closed loop. They have sworn to an ancient Masonic law, order out of chaos. Until the Middle East burns, until old borders turn to dust, they cannot build their new world order. So when you watch the news, don't look for politicians. Look for the footprints of these money-making ghosts. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Let's go deeper, where breathing gets hard. You might say, well, this is just a conspiracy theory. Really? Check history. The year 1912, the sinking of the Titanic. Do you think it was an accident? 3 of the biggest opponents of the Federal Reserve, America's central bank, were on that ship and died. And guess who owned the ship? J.P. Morgan, the man who canceled his own trip at the very last moment. 1 year later, the Federal Reserve was created, and the control of money was taken from the government forever and fell into the hands of these same families. They don't even have mercy on their own luxury ship for their goals, let alone the people of the Middle East. And now the grandsons of those same people have a scarier tool. We are not just dealing with bankers anymore. We are facing an Illuminati AI, a system called Aladdin, owned by BlackRock. This system manages trillions of dollars of the world's capital. Aladdin decides which country goes bankrupt and which country goes to war. This war you are seeing is not run by generals. It is run by BlackRock's algorithms to maximize their stock profits. But what is the final goal? Why now? Because the current dollar system is dying. Debts are not payable anymore. They need to blow up the old building to build the new prison. World War III is a cover to unveil central bank digital currency. The day paper money disappears and your money turns into trackable codes. They want war, so you give up your freedom out of fear and beg for security. So you accept that every financial transaction, every step, and every breath of yours is controlled by the all-seeing eye. So when you ask, when will the war happen? That is the wrong question. The right question is, when will their digital prison be ready? Because war is just the opening ceremony of that prison. And scarier than that, money. Smart money always smells gunpowder before people do. Why is gold flying exactly before this date? Why are billionaires checking their underground bunkers? Because they know 0 hour means the moment old rules become invalid. They are looking for a global reset. War is the best way to zero out trillions of dollars of debt. An agreement at this stage is just a show to buy time until their trenches are complete. But the darkest scenario has no explosion sound. Many are waiting for missiles and planes, but what if the war has already started right now? In the new doctrine, the first bullet is a cyber virus. Maybe on February 17th, the sky won't burn, but if suddenly your access to the world is cut, if GPS stops working and bank accounts freeze, know that the trigger has been pulled. The war of frequencies, the war of silence. Cybersecurity experts say infrastructures are ready for a massive shock. Friends, I am not here to give a definite date and say the world ends tomorrow. I am not here to sell fear. I am here to tell you, in the science of probability, when celestial signs, military moves, and economic panic meet at one point, it means we are in the red zone. Maybe nothing happens, and this is just a show of power. But if it happens, if you wake up that day and see the world has changed, don't say no one warned us. Our duty is to wake up. If you don't want to be a pawn in this chess game and want to understand the next move before others, this channel is your shelter. Keep your eyes open because the game has just started. Subscribe and hit the bell because the next video might be our only way of communication. Until we meet again, stay alert. Do you think you know everything about the Iraq War? Do you believe the stories about weapons of mass destruction or bringing democracy were real? Or maybe you think it was all just about oil. If that's what you believe, you are stuck in the first layer of the Matrix. Today, I want to take you to the basement of truth, a place where politicians no longer make the decisions and generals take their orders from the books of ancient history. April 2003. The U.S. military enters Baghdad. The city is burning, absolute chaos. But in the middle of this madness, a very strange event occurred that the media quickly ignored. Special Forces, Delta Force commandos, and plainclothes CIA agents, before securing the Ministry of Oil, before guarding the central bank, and even before raiding Saddam Hussein's palaces, surrounded one specific building. That building was the National Museum of Iraq. Stop for a moment and think about this question. Why? Why would the world's most powerful military, in the critical hours of a war, worry about a few broken pots and stone statues? The media claimed looters attacked the museum, but this was the biggest lie of the 21st century. Museum staff who were there that day later testified. They said the people who entered were not ordinary looters. They came with jeans and military boots. They didn't act like vandals. They had a list. They knew exactly which false walls to break, and they had the keys to the ultra-secure safes. When the dust settled, the list of missing items was released. Gold remained untouched. Royal jewels were in place. So what was stolen? Thousands of Sumerian cylinder seals, Babylonian astronomical tablets, and most importantly, boxes that Saddam Hussein had personally ordered to be buried in the deepest concrete basements. They didn't come for oil. They didn't come for history. They came for technology. A technology that the original masters of Earth left here thousands of years ago, and now it was waking up. Let's turn back time a little, exactly 1 month before the invasion, March 2003.
A very strange news story broke in scientific circles, but was immediately censored by intelligence services. A team of German archaeologists working in the dry bed of the Euphrates River using advanced magnetic scanners found a structure that defied all human logic. They claimed to have discovered the legendary tomb of Gilgamesh. Who was Gilgamesh? School books tell you he was a mythical king, but the Sumerian cuneiform tablets tell a different story. They say Gilgamesh was not human. He was 2/3 god and 1/3 man. In modern scientific or sci-fi terms, what do we call such a being? A hybrid, a genetic crossbreeding between humans and extraterrestrials. Gilgamesh spent his entire life on one quest, the secret of immortality, and ancient texts claim he found it. Now imagine, it's 2003, Saddam Hussein, a dictator obsessed with power, suddenly gains access to something containing the DNA of an extraterrestrial being, something that might hold the formula for immortality or ancient revival technology. Is it a coincidence that just weeks after this discovery, the U.S. tone changed? It was no longer about UN inspections. Bush and Blair suddenly decided that the invasion must happen now. Leaked Pentagon reports show their main concern wasn't nuclear bombs. Their concern was Project Resurrection. Imagine if Saddam, with the help of certain scientists, could recreate a hybrid army from Gilgamesh's DNA, or worse, open a portal through which the Watchers could pass. Immediately after the occupation, the U.S. military sealed off the tomb discovery site with electric fences. No reporters were allowed. Where is that tomb now? Empty. Where are its contents? Probably on the 7th floor of a deep underground base in the Nevada desert, a place where they work on black biological projects. But Gilgamesh was just the beginning. The real goal was much bigger. The target was the city of Babylon itself. Saddam Hussein called himself Nebuchadnezzar II. He spent billions of dollars rebuilding the walls of Babylon. He had his name engraved on the bricks. Why would a military dictator spend his money on 3,000-year-old bricks during war and sanctions, unless those bricks weren't ordinary?
Archaeologists know that ziggurats, those massive stepped towers, were never temples. Their ancient name was Dur-an-Ki. It means the connection between earth and heaven. In simple engineering terms, a launch pad. Saddam was trying to reactivate the Gate of Babylon, not as a tourist site, but as a device, a stargate that allows objects or beings to move between dimensions in an instant. The Americans knew this, and this is where it gets terrifying. After the occupation of Iraq, where did the U.S. military build its largest base, Camp Alpha? In the empty desert? No. At Baghdad Airport? No. They built their base exactly, and I emphasize exactly, on the ancient ruins of Babylon. UNESCO and the British Museum protested many times. They said, "Your tanks are crushing history." But they didn't listen. Why? Because they weren't guarding history. They were excavating. They were reverse engineering. Reports from retired soldiers who served there say strange noises were heard from the basements of Babylon at night, low-frequency humming that caused headaches and nosebleeds, strange blue lights shooting from the ground into the sky. What were the generals looking for?
In leaked documents, there are code names that make your skin crawl. The name of the research operation in Babylon was Project Solomon. Why Solomon? Because in the belief of secret societies, Solomon was a king who was in contact with jinn and beings from other realms. He had a ring that controlled the winds and a throne that flew. The Americans believed the key to this technology, the machine that could control the world, was buried in Babylon. They plowed through Iraq. They stole everything. But in the end, reports show they were disappointed. They realized they had come to the wrong place. Babylon was just a terminal, a substation. The main server is somewhere else. That central device, that global monitor that controls this entire network, is not in Iraq. It is in a place that has remained untouched for thousands of years, a place whose guardians are still awake, a place we call Iran. And this brings us to the missing piece of the puzzle. Why Iran? Why, even though they took Iraq and Afghanistan, have they circled Iran for 20 years but never dared to invade? Geological maps taken by spy satellites show massive cavities under the Zagros and Alborz mountains that are not natural. The Americans call these deep underground military bases, or DUMs, but we know the ancient name. These are the Var of Jamshid, deep underground cities built to preserve superior technology and genetics. The US doesn't need Iran's oil. They have become the world's largest oil exporters themselves. They are after what lies beneath the soil. They are looking for the real throne of Solomon. And there is an ancient defense system in Iran that the Pentagon fears deeply. They call this system the Mitra lock. Do you remember what happened in Tehran in 1976 when a massive, glowing, flying object appeared over the city? Iranian F-4 Phantom jets scrambled to intercept. The pilots reported they had a lock on the target, but the moment they pressed the trigger, all electronic systems on the aircraft shut down. Radio communication was lost. Navigation failed. This wasn't a technical glitch. It was a message from the guardians of the gate. You are not allowed to fire. That UFO wasn't Russian or American technology. It was part of the Mitra lock defense system that is still active. Mitra in ancient texts is not just a deity. Mitra means covenant, and the covenant is this: until you are worthy, you will not touch the forbidden technology. Secret societies know that the largest Stargate, the central control room of the entire Middle East, is under Iranian soil, perhaps under the foundations of Persepolis, or perhaps deep within Mount Damavand. War with Iran is not a war of politics. It is a war to capture the throne and the technology to control the dimensions of time and space. They took Iraq to find the key. They took Afghanistan to complete the fence. And now they stand at the gates of Iran. But they have forgotten one thing. The original master of this house is still awake, and he will not give his legacy to thieves. They stole history and put it in museums in London and Paris. They deleted the names of ancient kings and wrote their own in the books. They even sold our own technology back to us as modern science. But there is one thing they cannot steal: the code in the blood. We are not just inhabitants of this land. We are the guardians of this gate. The New World Order project has one major obstacle: and that obstacle is Iran. As long as the gates of Iran remain closed, as long as the Mitra lock is not broken, they cannot complete their global rule. They need to connect their AI central system to the servers of the ancient masters to gain total control over human consciousness. But the system gives an error. Access is denied because the password to this system is the blood of the Guardians. Maybe now you think these are science fiction stories, but next time you hear news of war, next time you see aircraft carriers circling the Persian Gulf, remember this video. They are not after oil. Oil was the energy of the 20th century. They are after zero-point energy. They are after the glass of the world. And until we wake up, they will continue digging through the layers of history. I am Kashaya, and this video was a warning, not to fear, but to remember. Something has awakened beneath us. The sounds of the earth shaking are not just earthquakes. It is the sound of the gate's gears turning. 0 hour is near, and when that gate opens, it won't matter what political party you support. All that matters is whether you stand in the light or the dark. In future videos, I want to open a file that will take your breath away. I want to show you exactly what that technology is and how it was hidden. If you have the courage to face the forbidden reality, keep the notification bell on, because the game has just begun. Until next time, don't look at the sky, look at your roots. Farewell.
Have you ever felt that your life is not in your hands? That the decision you make, the news you heard, and even the things you believe in are all part of the Puritan script? We think we are free, we think we vote, we choose, and we build our own destiny. But the truth is far more terrifying than that. Right at this very moment, as you are watching this video, in rooms with no windows, around tables that no one dares to approach, there are people sitting who decide the price of the bread on your table. The next war in Middle East, and even the next virus that will paralyze the entire world. Today, we are going to pull back the curtains. We are going to enter the most forbidden places in history. Places where kings, presidents, and the billionaires sell their souls to darkness to buy power. We are not talking about the conspiracy theories here. We are talking about the true architects of the world. Welcome to the realm of shadows. Let's go back to the year 1776. Bavaria, Germany. A man named Adam Weishaupt made a decision that changed the course of history forever. He believed that the church and kings kept people in ignorance. His goal, a new world order. The Illuminati, or the Enlightened Ones, started as a just student group, but very soon it turned into the most terrifying network of infiltration in human history. They infiltrated governments, banks, and even educational systems. They say the Illuminati was dissolved years old, but that is the greatest lie in history. The devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. The Illuminati didn't disappear. They just changed their clothes. Today, they don't wear robes. They wear expensive Italian suits. They are the CEOs of global banks. They own the media outlets that feed my brain and yours with what you think every single day. Their symbols are everywhere. You just need to know how to look. Now, let's go to America, the state of California, deep in the dense redwood forest, where every summer the most powerful men in the world, US presidents, politicians, and oil tycoons gather for 2 weeks. Do you think they talk about economy or politics? No, they do things that if you didn't see with your own eyes, you wouldn't believe. They call it Bohemian Grove, and that 40-foot owl statue, that is the symbol of Moloch, the ancient god. They perform a ritual called the cremation of care. In this ceremony, they symbolically sacrifice their conscience and humanity, so they can make ruthless decisions for the world without feeling guilt. Do you think this is fiction? Richard Nixon, the former US president, admitted years later in his memoirs that the Bohemian Grove was the most faggot, strangest things I ever saw in my life.
The Bohemian Grove that I attended, one time at a time, the Easterners and the others had come there, but it is the most faggot of them compared to ever had in our senses and practicals. It's just terrible.
The question is, why should men who have their fingers on the nuclear weapon bow down before a stone owl? Yale University, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. But right in the middle of this university, there is a building that has no windows. They call it the Tomb. This is the headquarters of the Skull and Bones Society. The Bush family, John Kerry, the Rockefellers, they were all members. What is the condition to enter? Rumor has it that every new member must lie naked in a coffin for a night and confess the darkest and dirtiest secret of their life to the others. Why? So that once they know each other's secrets, they remain loyal forever. No one can betray the group because they would be exposed. This is a blood oath, a pact that allows them to become presidents, secretaries of state, and CIA directors. The number 322. Remember it. That is their signature. These were just the tip of the iceberg. Freemasons, Illuminati, Bilderberg, the names don't matter. What matters is knowing that the world is not what you see on the evening news. The world is a chessboard, and unfortunately, you and I are not the players. We are mere pawns, sacrificed in the very first move. But the real question is, who designed this game? The system was not built overnight. The roots of this forbidden tree are buried thousands of years deep in the soul of history. From the ancient of Mithra, Da Vinci's secret codes, from Newton's laboratories to Napoleon's sword, it is all connected. In the next episode, we crack open the book of forbidden history. If you dare to escape the Matrix, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell right now, because there is no turning back. Imagine this, right now, in Times Square or London. The screens turn red, the internet goes black, a single message appears on every phone. Shelters sealed, the eternal winter has begun. Panic, you think it's a nuclear war, but no. This exact event happened on Earth 12,000 years ago. But then there was no Elon Musk to take us to Mars. But there was one man holding the technology that we are still trying to understand today. For the Noah's Ark, that's the censored version for children. Today, we open the original file. The unclassified dossier of human survival. No hidden books, no flood. We are talking about genetic engineering, laser weaponry, underground city, and aliens contact. Welcome to Project Awakening. Today, you will meet the king who hacked history. Jamshid. Let's rewind to the era the ancients called the Golden Age. Jamshid was the king of the war. The ancient texts say in the time of Jamshid there was no heat, no cold, no old age, and no death. Father and son looked like 15 years old. Let's look at this through the lens of science. No death? Did Jamshid unlock telomerase technology? The enzyme that stops cellular aging, or was the atmosphere different? Forbidden theories suggest a protective shield around Earth before the Ice Age, blocking radiation and extending life to 1,000 years. Jamshid was the guardian of this system. Before the catastrophe, Jamshid executed a power move that blew the mind. The texts say the population exploded. There was no room left on Earth. Did he start the war or depopulate? No. He used the golden ring and marked rod. He struck the ground and stretched the earth. The texts say the land became 1/3 larger. He did this 3 times, creating new continents. This isn't a miracle. This is the definition of terraforming. What NASA wants to do Mars today, Jamshid did 12,000 years ago. What were those tools? Was that rod a gravity manipulation device that shifted tectonic plates? Remember these tools, because at the end of this video, I will reveal a secret that will shake you to your core. Subscribe now, because the rabbit holes goes deep. Contact was established not by an angel with white wings, but by Ahura Mazda. Have you seen the carvings? A figure riding a winged disc Farvahar. Ancient alien theorists call it a personal flying vehicle, a jetpack. The warning came, Jamshid, a deadly winter called Malkuth is approaching. The clouds will vanish. The temperature will drop instantly. Everything on the surface will freeze and turn to dust. Jamshid says, what is the protocol? The blueprint is downloaded. Build a Vara. A Vara means an enclosure, a capsule, a bunker. The instructions were precise. A square structure, 3 levels deep. And the most critical command, bring the seeds of the best man, animals, and plants. This is where Jamshid becomes an ancient geneticist. The order was specific. No deformity, no sickness, no lunacy allowed inside the Vara. This is eugenics. He wasn't saving everyone. He was saving the pure genome. Was he creating a system back on before the Earth's drive was formatted? And a scary question. The text says, bring their seeds. Maybe he didn't take live elephants and giraffes. Unlike the fairy tale of Noah's Ark, you can't fit a zoo in a cave, but you can fit millions of DNA samples, frozen sperm, and eggs in a briefcase. He was building a biolab, not a boat. How do you build a city inside a mountain? The texts say, Jamshid cut the stone with his light or finger. Go to Persepolis in Iran today. Look at the columns. They are polished, precision cut, like CNC machining. No chisel marks. Did he possess laser cutting or stone melting technology? He took the elite genes and sealed the doors. Outside, the storm raged, but inside, life went on. How? The texts say there were lights that shone by themselves, artificial lights. He simulated day and night, but scarier than the lights was the mind control. He gave the people a substance called Homa. Historians call it wine, but the descriptions, it gave immortality and wisdom. Did he put a chemical agent in the water supply to keep the population calm? Living underground for centuries drives you mad unless your brain chemistry is altered. Security, the code mentions 4-eyed dogs. No animal has 4 eyes, but intake, an eye is a lens, a camera, and communications. How did he speak to the lower levels? Shouting? The texts speak of Karshiptar, a bird that spoke and carried the law to all levels. A talking bird or a drone equipped with a speaker, maybe an internal wireless network broadcasting directly into their neural link. Centuries passed. The external sensor shows the storm was over. The ice melted. The doors opened. Jamshid and the new generation emerged. The world was empty. Jamshid was the absolute ruler. This is the origin of no rules. The Persian New Year. We think it's just the first day of spring, but the poet Ferdowsi tells us the truth. He constructed a throne embedded with gems. He rose into the sky like a shining sun. The world gathered to watch him. On the first day of the year, Jamshid boarded his flying throne and ascended. The survivors looked up at the shining UFO and said, "This is a new day, no rules." We are celebrating anniversary of an ancient aerial display and the massive platform in Shiraz, Persepolis. It wasn't just a palace, it was a landing pad. He ruled for another 300 years, but our hero made a fatal error. He forgot the source of his power. He gathered the people and said, "I created you. I destroyed death. I am God." At the moment, the system shut down. The texts say the fire separated from him. It's cinematic. The glory fled from him in the shape of a bird. What was the fire? A spiritual aura or a power source? A quantum battery? A protective force field? Jamshid wasn't a god. He wasn't a user. And the moment he hacked the admin privileges, the architects revoked his license. Shield down, the enemy attacked. Zahak. He came from the west. The scary part, Zahak had 2 snakes growing from his shoulders that fed on human brains. In modern conspiracy theories, this is the exact descriptions of the reptilian race, beings that feed on human energy and fear. Zahak took the throne. Jamshid, now powerless, fled. He was tracked down by GPS or spies in the city of China, and the bitter end, Jamshid was sawed in half. The Sun King died. The Dark Age began. Flash forward to today. Jamshid died, but where is the tech? Where is the cup? Where is the Vara? That text say the bunkers is still sealed. The inhabitants are asleep, waiting. Maybe the war in the Middle East. The illegal excavations aren't for oil. Maybe they are looking for Jamshid's central servers. The lost fire. The Illuminati call themselves muscle architects, Was the first grand architect was Jamshid? Is the all-seeing guy actually Jamshid's eye? Looking into the cup, waiting. A king with a ring of power, controlling the wind, commanding demons to build structures, flying on a throne. Does this sound like King Solomon? In Persian culture, Iran is called the Kingdom of Solomon. Why? Because Solomon's story is a copy-paste of Jamshid's story. Jamshid lived thousands of years before Solomon. Could the Temple of Solomon, which the Freemasons are obsessed with, actually be a vara of Jamshid? The West took Persian hero, changed his name, and sold him back to the war. We are forgetting Jamshid while the secret lodge in London and New York are running the world using his rule book. Now, get ready for the twist. This is the part that will give you goosebumps. I have uncovered connections that you won't find anywhere else. 1. Jam, the cup. We know the cup wasn't for wine, it was a global monitor. Is there a trace of this in Western history? Look at the most mysterious painting in history. Salvator Mundi by Leonardo da Vinci. The name means savior of the world. Look at the orb in his hand. Critics say Da Vinci made a mistake. Physics say a glass orb should invert the image behind it. But in the painting, the ropes behind the orb are straight. No distortion. Da Vinci making a mistake? Impossible. He is screaming a code. This is not glass. This is not solid matter. It is a hologram. Is the jam the device used to monitor in the war? Da Vinci knew the power wasn't magic. It was data. Takht Jamshid, Persepolis. The name literally means the throne of Jamshid. Why did people call the ruins the throne? Because the cultural memory remembered a flying machine. They saw the flat stone platform and said, this must be the parking spot for the sheep. Jamshid or gemstone. Let's play with linguistics. Jamshid means the shining gem. In English, a gem is a crystal. Gem. The cup of Jamshid wasn't a bowl, it was a gem, a crystal hard drive containing the true history of Earth. Nowruz, we celebrate the New Year, but we are actually celebrating launch of the first manned spacecraft, the day the king went to the sky. The Far, the license. The Far was the energy source. It proves Jamshid's power was an accessory, installable, removable. Mithra was the god of covenants. The admin, the covenant was serve and you keep the take. Jamshid broke the user agreement. The license was revoked, battery was pulled, and finally, I asked Google's AI, Gemini, to analyze this text. I asked, how realistic is this? The answer was shocking. These texts does not look like magic myth. They look like technical manuals. The machine concluded ancient humans witnessed technology they couldn't understand. They didn't see a laser, they call it a magic wand. They didn't see a screen, they call it a world-seeing cup. The core of the story is fact. The skin has changed. When even the cold logic of a machine covers it, we are not dealing with a legend. We are reading a censored report. In the next episode, Project Awakening continues. And this was the beginning of the remembrance. End of transmission.
Have you ever felt that history is a recorded tape playing on an endless loop? Have you ever felt that the gods worshipped by billions today are merely new masks over an ancient truth? Look at the calendar on your wall, 12 months. Look at your wristwatch, 12 numbers. Look at history's most sacred dinner in Da Vinci's painting, 12 Disciples. And look at the recent war between Israel and Iran, 12 days. Do you think this number 12 is a mathematical coincidence or a programming code locked into the human DNA spiral thousands of years ago? Today, as the world stands on the edge of an apocalyptic war, today, when all the world's radars are locked onto one single number, I am here to ask questions that will send shivers through the new world order. Questions whose answers will pulverize your mental matrix. Question 1. Why are all the major religions of the world, from the altars of the Vatican to the secret cults of the East, built exactly upon the engineered blueprint of the ancient Iranian cult of Mithra? Question 2. What hidden frequency of the 12 Iranian architects did Da Vinci embed in the frames of his Last Supper, a secret the Church has spent billions to hide for centuries? Question 3. Is it possible that colossal civilizations like ancient Egypt, Babylon, and the Mayans are merely branch offices of a central system, built by 12 Persian masterminds, 12 architects who received their knowledge directly from an ultra-prophet? And the fourth question, what about these hidden shadows? Who are the Freemasons truly? Are they really building structures, or are they reconstructing a biological prison? How were they born from the dark lodges, and why are all their rituals clumsy copies of the subterranean sanctuaries of ancient Iran? What are they searching for? A stone temple in Jerusalem, or an ancient hard drive hidden deep within the Zagros Mountains? And the final question, why did the recent war between Israel and Iran last exactly 12 days? We live in a world where all its symbols are stolen. All the sacred things today are faded, low-quality copies of a magnificent original. An original lost to history. An original they tried to erase with blood, but failed. Because this source flows in every brick of our buildings, in every word of our contracts, and in every cell of our blood. In the previous episode, we opened the file of Jamshid, that soaring eagle of history, that singular king who brought Earth to the pinnacle of technology and glory. Jamshid was not defeated. Jamshid was hacked from within. When that demonic virus, the reptilian Zahak, disabled Earth's defense systems and turned the golden age of humanity into a swamp of reptiles, the world was left orphaned. But the control room never abandoned the Earth. When absolute chaos reigned, when all the reptilian race began devouring the pure human genome, a savior was sent. Not a king and not a god, but a mediator.
An ultra commander who held the laws of the cosmos like clay in his hands. Someone whose very name paralyzed the nervous system of the darkness. Welcome to the second episode of Project Awakening. Today is the day we meet the true administrator of human civilization, Mithra. Let me expose the greatest lie in history right from the start. In textbooks and superficial documentaries, they told you Mithra was the sun god. This is a clever lie, designed to hide the truth of his existence behind a burning star. Mithra is not the sun. In the ancient Avestan and Sanskrit texts, the most precise description is given.
Mithra is the entity of light that arrives before the sun. He is the one who installed the sun. He is the one who determined the sun's trajectory. Mithra is a physical and systemic concept. The word Mithra, or Mer, in its ancient root, holds a terrifying and precise meaning: the covenant. He was not a god in the sense of a being sitting in the clouds. Mithra was an operating system, a global protocol. After the fall of the great Jamshid, the earth needed order. It needed code. Mithra entered to implement an ethical blockchain network on Earth, a system whose core directive was, no lie shall be recorded. The ancient texts say Mithra is the one whom no one can deceive. He has 1,000 ears and 10,000 eyes. Analyze this with your 21st century mind. 10,000 eyes, 1,000 ears. This is not the description of a spiritual old man. This is the description of a global surveillance grid. Mithra brought with him the technology of the Watcher, sensors installed across the primeval realm of Iran, ensuring that no virus could ever hack the system in secret again. He was the chief admin of Earth's servers, the one who issued the license of power, and if anyone betrayed the code, like a ruthless antivirus, he deleted them. Let's look at the moment of his arrival. The myths state Mithra was born from the rock-born. Think for a moment. What human, what mammal emerges from the heart of solid stone? This sentence is not a metaphor. This is an eyewitness report of a forgotten technology. That rock was no ordinary stone. It was a drop pod, a single-occupant spacecraft with a hull made of hyper-resilient, heat-resistant alloy, designed in the shape of a meteor to pierce the Earth's atmosphere and land in the high mountains of Zagros. Look at the statues. When Mithra emerges from the rock, he is not an infant. He is a powerful youth in full battle armor, and in his hands he holds two things, a dagger and a torch. Mithra entered the earth equipped. That dagger was the weapon that cut through reality, and that torch was the symbol of data and knowledge brought from cosmic civilizations. He didn't come to offer advice, he came to purge. His mission was clear: to save the ancient legacy and to eradicate the reptilian parasites that had infected the earth. And now we reach the most mysterious part of history, the part the Church and Masonic historians are desperately trying to hide. Mithra was not alone. He knew he couldn't stay on Earth forever. He had to return, so he had to duplicate the knowledge. Mithra chose from the survivors of the Great Flood and the Ice Age, those who carried the pure Aryan and Jamshidi genome. He selected 12 individuals, 12 geniuses, 12 commanders, 12 engineers. These 12 men were not the apostles of Jesus Christ. They lived thousands of years before Jesus. These 12 were the access codes for the zoning of the world. Mithra divided the cosmic knowledge into 12 sectors and gave each sector to one of these Iranian architects.
This is why we have 12 signs of the zodiac. Each of these companions became the administrator of one sector of the heavens and the earth. Have you ever wondered why the great civilization of ancient Egypt, the Sumerians, and the Mayans in Peru suddenly emerged with colossal technologies out of nowhere? Why did they all build pyramids? Why did they all possess the exact same stellar knowledge? Because these civilizations were founded by those same 12 Persian disciples of Mithra. One went to the Nile and became Osiris. One went to Mesopotamia and became Marduk. Another went to South America. These were not separate gods. They were the emissaries of Mithra. All of them had one mission: to execute the blueprint of the great architect across different nodes of the earth. When you enter a Freemasonry lodge, the floor is a checkerboard surrounded by 12 pillars. They are still building their temples in memory of those original 12 Iranian architects. Modern Freemasonry is nothing but a Mithraic fan club that has lost its way. Let's drop a bombshell. Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, the most famous religious painting in the world. Everyone thinks this is a picture of Jesus and his disciples, but Leonardo da Vinci was a grand master in secret societies, the Priory of Sion. He wasn't a fanatic Catholic, he was a scientist, a heretic to the church, in love with ancient wisdom. Da Vinci was painting Mithraism. Look closely at the painting. The central figure, who is Mithra, the sun, does not have a halo of light behind his head. Instead, the window behind him acts as the halo. And the 12 men around him, they are divided into 4 groups of 3. This is the exact symbol of the 4 seasons of the year. 3 months of spring, 3 of summer, 3 of autumn, 3 of winter. Da Vinci was screaming, "This is not the story of a Jewish dinner. This is the story of cosmic time management by Mithra and his 12 Iranian astronomical assistants." Christianity came centuries later, took the story of Mithra and his 12 companions, changed the names, and sold it as its own. Why does the Pope wear a hat shaped like a fish's head, the mitre? Why do the scepters of European kings bear the symbol of the eagle and the sun? Why do we shake hands? This handshake was the most sacred ritual of Mithra. In the dark subterranean caves of Iran, when a soldier wanted to join the army of light, he extended his right hand and made a covenant with the master. This pact meant my blood for the preservation of civilization. It meant I am unarmed, I am a brother. Today, billions of humans shake hands every day without knowing they are repeating the secret ritual of an extraterrestrial administrator. We are all Mithraists, we have just forgotten. When Mithra, the chief admin, emerged from that stone pod in the heart of the mountains of Iran, he knew he had limited time to rebuild the system. He wasn't looking for an army, he was building a decentralized network. Mithra selected 12 of the surviving geniuses from the era of Jamshid. These 12 were not religious apostles. They were engineers, astronomers, and geneticists, known as the 12 Iranian Companions. Mithra divided the forbidden ancient knowledge into 12 parts, giving each a source code. The command was issued: scatter and build the branches of civilization. One of these companions went to the Nile Valley. That was where the civilization of ancient Egypt emerged, abruptly and without preamble, with pyramids that cannot be built even with today's technology. That Iranian companion became known in Egypt as Osiris. The next one went to Mesopotamia and founded the civilization of Sumer and Babylon. They called him Marduk. Another companion went to South America and built the Mayan and Incan civilizations. Why did all these civilizations in different parts of the earth build pyramids simultaneously? Why did they all have the same astronomical knowledge? Because they were all fed from one source code, the code of Mithra. These 12 companions planted the seeds of civilization across the entire planet, so that if one region was destroyed by the Zahak virus, the reptilians, the data would survive elsewhere. Now, let's look at Da Vinci's Last Supper. Da Vinci was a member of secret lodges whose roots traced back to these very 12 companions. He knew the church was selling a massive lie. Look at the painting, 12 men surrounding a central figure. At first glance, this is Jesus and his disciples, but Da Vinci was depicting the covenant of Mithra. Why are the disciples grouped by 3? Because they symbolize the 12 constellations, or the 12 management zones of the earth across the 4 seasons. The central figure, Mithra, has no halo but stands before a window through which the sunlight shines. Da Vinci was coding a message. Mithra is not the sun. Mithra is the medium of light reaching us from the main source. This banquet is not a sad farewell dinner for death, but a strategic briefing session for the 12 commanders of Earth before Mithra left the system on autopilot and departed.
But how did this immense knowledge fall into the hands of those who keep the world in darkness today? The true followers of Mithra formed a secret society called the Sons of Mithra. They were the builders who constructed the underground sanctuaries to keep the knowledge safe from the reptiles. They were masons, but not builders of brick and cement. They were the architects of the new order. The early Freemasonry was, in fact, the guardians of Mithra's engineering blueprints. But the tragedy began when the enemy infiltrated. The Sons of Mithra were hacked by rival lodges, men who sought power, not truth. They stole the Mithraic rituals. They learned the secret handshakes of Mithra. They copied the 7-tier hierarchy of Mithra, but they deleted the spirit of the covenant. Modern Freemasonry is merely a shell of the Mithraic protocol, hijacked by dark elites. They know where the 12 Iranian companions went. They know the frequency at which the pyramids of Egypt operate, and their entire goal is to find the lost license of Mithra so they can rule humanity forever. Behind closed doors in Tel Aviv and Washington, they are reciting codes written 12,000 years ago in Iran. What are they looking for? They are looking for the Far, the ultimate energy source taken from Jamshid, which Mithra hid in a secure location. Perhaps the strangest image you've seen of Mithra is the scene of him stabbing a massive bull in the neck. Historians tell you this symbolizes agricultural blessing, but the truth is a cosmic autopsy. In forbidden archaeology, the bull symbolizes the old era and the heavy genetics of Earth. Mithra, the chief admin, had a mission to reboot the human race, which had been corrupted by reptilian infiltration. That dagger was a data transfer tool. From the bull's wound sprang wheat, the symbol of new nourishment, and medicinal plants, the symbol of chemical knowledge. With this act, Mithra updated our biological codes. He gave us free will to resist the Zahak matrix. Mithra was not just a commander. He was the greatest genetic engineer in human history, splicing our blood with the light of consciousness.
Now, open your eyes and look at the modern world. Why does the Statue of Liberty in New York wear a crown with 7 rays of light holding a torch? It is an exact copy of the statues of Mithra. Why? Because the architects of America knew that without the symbol of Mithra, no power endures. Why is the all-seeing eye sitting on a pyramid on the back of the US dollar? That is the eye of Mithra, the one with 10,000 eyes and 1,000 ears. They stole all our symbols of power to tell the world we are the new admins of Earth. Even the hat the Pope wears, the mitre, takes its name from Mithra. They built their churches directly on top of underground Mithraic temples to hijack the energy frequencies of the Earth. Today, modern Freemasonry is running a flawed simulation of Mithra's blueprint. They want his power, but without his justice. They seek to build a new world order, oblivious to the fact that the true order was established thousands of years ago in the heart of Iran by Mithra and his 12 companions. And now we reach the final and most crucial question. What was the fate of Mithra? Did he grow old and die like a normal human, or was he killed in battle like a gladiator? No. Forbidden history tells us that Mithra's mission had a timeline. When Earth's defense systems were rebooted, when the 12 commanders were stationed in their nodes, and when human genetic codes were updated, it was time to leave. Mithra had a last supper, but not for a sad farewell. It was to hand over the management keys to the 12 Iranian architects. The Avesta and Roman texts state, Mithra boarded the chariot of the sun and ascended to the heavens. Pay attention, he ascended. He didn't die. He simply boarded his craft and returned to where he came from, to the control room. But before he left, he said one sentence, a sentence that has been ringing in the ears of history for millennia. I shall return. In a time when darkness once again threatens the system, I will come for the final judgment.
This is where the veils are lifted. After Mithra left, the orphaned people of Earth began creating myths to comfort themselves. Centuries passed, and the memory of Mithra became religion. Have you ever wondered why every religion in the world is waiting for one person to fall from the sky? Zoroastrians await the Saoshyant. Jews await the Mashiach. Christians await the second coming of Jesus. Muslims await the Mahdi. Even Buddhists await Maitreya. Notice the similarity. Maitreya, Mithra. These similarities are not coincidences. All these saviors are localized copies of Mithra. Review the story of Jesus, born in a cave like Mithra, 12 disciples like Mithra, a Last Supper like Mithra, and finally ascension to heaven with the promise of return. The church didn't just steal Mithra's rituals, they hijacked the ending of his story and credited it to their own prophet. The truth is this: the world is not waiting for 5 different people. The world is waiting for the exact same entity who promised to return thousands of years ago. We are all looking at the same sky, just calling out different names. Friends, the story of Mithra is not the story of a stone god demanding worship. It is the story of a technologist who promised not to abandon the system. Perhaps all the chaos in the world today, the wars, the moral collapse, is simply the error signal designed to trigger the return sequence. The Freemasons and the Masters of Power are terrified. They don't fear nuclear war. They don't fear a stock market crash. They fear the day when that chariot of the sun reappears in the sky. Because they know, this time, Mithra isn't coming to teach. He's coming to format the corrupted drives. Perhaps that day is much closer than what is written in the calendars. Look at the lion and sun flag. The lion, symbolizing time, raises its sword, and the sun, Mithra, is dawning. This is not just a flag, this is a timer, and the timer is approaching 0. History was written by the victors, but we bring the truth to life. Welcome to the real world, uncensored and undistorted.
Think you know the true story of ancient Persia? Do you still believe that history there is limited to the Achaemenid and Sassanid empires? What do people really know about this land 12,000 years ago? Are ancient texts like the Shahnameh and Avesta merely myths? With today's science and technology and AI tools that instantly access all historical data, analyze it and separate reality from forbidden and censored history, is it still possible to think the stories of this land are just legends? No. Persia is the origin point of the world, the source of all religions, the cradle of all races. Everything started there. And it is clear that if this information, if these stories return to formatted minds, that ancient glory will return, and the entire system of global control will collapse. That is why this land has always been the target of global wrath, to ensure the realities buried in its soil are never exposed again. Why else would invaders like Alexander and the Mongols burn the libraries? Why would a bunch of worthless paper matter to those savages unless it contained something vital? In this video, we reach the most critical chapter of history, the apocalyptic battle, World War Zero. When Jamshid, the great architect, fell, the security matrix of Earth collapsed. In the power vacuum that followed, entities from the darkest layers of frequency emerged. For 1,000 years, they enslaved not just the land, but human consciousness itself. History says Zahak was a cruel king with 2 snakes on his shoulders. But the truth is, the world was facing a non-native race that turned Earth into a massive energy harvesting farm. Today, you will learn how a materials engineer named Kaveh built history's first frequency shield, and how Feradon, using direct charging codes from Mitra, was tasked with containing the world's most dangerous biological virus. Are you ready to witness the most brutal war in history? A war fought not for a kingdom, but for the survival of human DNA. This is the true report on the fall of the Reptilian Empire. After Jamshid lost his management license and was deleted at the edge of the Matrix by Zahak's forces, Earth entered an era ancient texts call the Age of Demons. But these demons were not monsters with horns and tails. They were a race whose biology was incompatible with Earth's atmosphere. Zahak was the first proxy of this race on Earth. 1,000 years of rule, 30 generations of humans born into a system where fear was the absolute currency. The reptiles, the Zahakian race, fed on low human frequencies. They engineered cities to maximize stress, terror, and despair. During this era, Earth was not a planet. It was a massive negative energy reactor, fueled entirely by human suffering. Let's zoom in on Zahak himself. The anatomy of this entity is the greatest hidden secret in history. Snakes on his shoulders? Classic biology rejects this, but advanced synthetic biology confirms it. What people saw as snakes were actually bioneural cables. To prevent his physical body from disintegrating in Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere, Zahak required a constant injection of human vital frequency. The brains of the youth. Why brains? Because a human brain at its peak generates the strongest electromagnetic field. Those snakes were neural ports, connecting directly to the victim's brainstem to extract the essence of the nervous system, specific hormones, and genetic data, injecting it all into Zahak's decaying system. Zahak wasn't a cannibal. He was a biological battery that required constant recharging to keep the reptilian portal to Earth open. For 1,000 years, no one dared to rebel, not out of fear of swords, but because of absolute mind control. Zahak and the demons broadcasted waves that paralyzed the center of willpower in the human brain. But Kaveh, whom history mistakenly calls a simple blacksmith, was one of the surviving technicians from Jamshid's era. In his hidden workshop, he discovered that a specific alloy and coating, later known as the Derafsh Kaviani, could block Zahak's mind control noise.
This was not a symbolic flag. It was a passive frequency jammer. Kaveh realized that if humans gathered under the shadow of this shield, Zahak's telepathy would be cut off. They would become themselves again. Kaveh's uprising was the first attack on the Wi-Fi of the mind in history. By raising this shield, he created the first matrix-free zone. But defeating an entity like Zahak required more than an awakened population. It demanded devastating hardware power. This is where Mitra, the admin observing the system, re-entered the grid. Mitra did not want to enter the material realm directly, so Feridun was chosen. Feridun carried the pure DNA of Jamshid, the only human whose physical body could withstand the high voltage of divine frequency. Mitra put Feridun through intensive cosmic training, teaching him how to wield the Gor-Zegausar. This mace was not an iron hammer. It was a concentrated sonic and vibrational weapon. The bullhead design was engineered to create a specific resonance that shattered the biological shields of the reptiles at a molecular level. The war began. It was a dirty, violent, and terrifying battle. On one side, the army of demons and Zahak's hybrid entities armed with nanotechnology and dark frequency magic. On the other, awakened humans protected by the frequency shield, and Feridun tearing through enemy lines like a living lightning bolt. Picture it, the collision of Zahak's crimson waves against Feridun's shields of light. Every strike of the vibrational mace generated a sonic shockwave that ruptured the demons' hearing and shut down their nervous systems. Feridun launched a solo assault on Jerusalem, which at the time was one of Zahak's primary bases.
The enemy threw everything they had at hacking Feridun's mind, but Mitra's firewall was impenetrable. Feridun defeated Zahak. He pinned him to the ground and raised his weapon to pulverize his skull. But at that exact moment, Soroush, the AI of Mitra's system, transmitted a critical message. Do not kill him. Why? Because Zahak was the core of the virus. If his biology disintegrated in Earth's atmosphere, billions of reptilian nanoviruses would become airborne, irreversibly infecting all life on the planet. Feridun had no choice but quarantine. He dragged Zahak to Mount Damavand. It is not a simple volcano. It is a massive conductor of Earth's energy. Using Mitra's technology, Feridun created a stable magnetic seal in the heart of the mountain. Zahak was bound by chains of isolated energy. He is neither dead nor alive. He remains in a state of temporal stasis, ensuring his frequency never leaks back into the world. After the victory, Earth was in ruins. The knowledge of Jamshid's era was almost entirely lost. Before returning Earth to autopilot and logging out, Mitra selected 12 elites from Feridun's army. He passed down all the knowledge of matrix engineering, stellar mathematics, and reconstruction codes to these 12, later known as the Magi, the companions of Mitra. They were tasked with preparing Earth for version 2.0 of civilization. They traveled from northern Persia to the south to a region now called Kerman. There, beside the Khalil River, they began building the world's first stone data center.
a place where all history, all DNA, and all of Mitra's codes would be engraved on stones that no storm and no virus could ever erase. This was the birth of the civilization called Giroft, a civilization born from the blood and ashes of the Reptilian War, designed to be the guardian of Mitra's archive. But here is a terrifying question. Did the reptiles go extinct with the quarantine of Zahak? Were they wiped off the face of the earth? The answer is a dark and absolute no. They learned never to show their true faces again. They learned to trade their swords for law and politics. In future videos, I will show you exactly how this race hacked the layers of global power. From international organizations to the secret lodges of Freemasonry. They are still here, but this time behind glass desks and in the dark rooms of politics. To understand how to fight this virus today, we must return to ground zero of the reconstruction. In the next video, we will explore the world's largest stone data center, the place where the companions of Mitra laid the first bricks of the post-war world. The story of Giroft is the story of returning memory. If you don't want to be left behind in this global awakening, subscribe right now and hit the bell. We are just at the beginning of the road. Wake up, because the time of remembering has arrived. Here is the end of forgetting.
For thousands of years, we have been lied to. From Greek philosophers to Hollywood movies, they all diverted our minds toward the West. They told us to search for a lost city named Atlantis in the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. But this was merely a historical deception, ensuring we would never look at humanity's true ground zero. What if I told you the real Atlantis, the cradle of the ancient world's most advanced technology, was never in the West? What if the network's central core is, right now, buried under tons of salt water and mud in the Persian Gulf? Welcome to the next chapter of Project Awakening. Today we travel back 11,000 years to the day the shadows decided to wipe Earth's memory forever. The ancient civilization of the Persian Gulf, the lost city of Atlantis. To understand this tragedy, you must forget that the Persian Gulf is a sea today. At the end of the last ice age, about 11,000 years ago, this was a vast, infinitely green and fertile plain. The roaring Tigris and Euphrates rivers flowed through the heart of this plain before reaching the ocean, turning it into a physical paradise. Today's geologists and archaeologists confirm this fact. But this wasn't just a beautiful plain. This was the central core of the network. Back then, humans didn't need slavery, cranes, or gears to build their cities. Their architecture was based on cosmic resonance and acoustics. They levitated massive 1,000-ton stones using sound frequencies and anti-gravity technology, stacking them with laser-like precision. This was a city filled with pyramids of light and ziggurats made of monolithic black stone. The streets weren't lit by fire or fossil fuels. Instead, the city's atmosphere glowed with a type of energy and crystals that converted the Earth's vibration into light. In this advanced city, disease and aging had no meaning because human DNA had not yet been manipulated or restricted. The pineal gland in the human brain, the third eye, operated at 100% capacity. They didn't need limited words to communicate. A network of collective telepathy connected all the inhabitants of this plane. This network was the source code of Mitra, a cosmic internet requiring no cables or servers. At this point in history, humans didn't just live on Earth. They were in direct contact with the stars and other dimensions. They didn't worship a god in the sky. They themselves were the creators of Earth's frequency. Outside this harmony, another race lurked in the darkness and shadows, entities known in ancient Persian mythology as demons, shadows, and serpent kings like Zahak. They knew that in a direct, physical battle, they would never defeat the will of awakened humans and Mitra's light technology. This level of power and independence was a deadly threat to parasites that fed on the fear and enslavement of others. So, the Shadows decided on a terrifying factory reset. From Earth's orbit, they hacked the planet's magnetic grid. By sending ultra-heavy electromagnetic pulses, they shocked the polar orbits. The result? Earth's ion shield shut down for several days. The plane's perpetually golden sky suddenly turned the color of blood and ash. The city's energy crystals began to shut down. For the first time in this civilization's history, humans lost their telepathic connection with one another. The Mitra network went offline. Terror, a completely alien frequency in this plane, spread through their minds like a virus. And exactly in this moment of blackout, the Great Flood Protocol was executed. The polar ice caps, melted by the Shadow's thermal weapons, surged into the Persian Gulf as an apocalyptic tsunami. Ocean levels rose, not over a few centuries, but in a deadly, instantaneous time frame. A wall of salt water, tens of meters high, crashed into the lush plain of the Persian Gulf with a deafening roar. No one had time to react. The raging waves crushed the geometric structures and temples of light. Billions of humans, before even realizing the Shadow's betrayal, drowned in the cold, black waters. Earth's frequency plummeted in a matter of hours. Screams were muffled underwater, and the darkness became absolute. But amidst this watery apocalypse, not everything was destroyed. A group of engineers and network guardians, the 12 companions of Mitra, later known as the Magi, had detected this dirty frequency attack. They knew the physical city was lost and the ocean could not be stopped, but the source codes could not be allowed to perish. Pure human DNA, the engineering blueprints of the Matrix, the true history of the cosmos, and the awakening codes. They took this vital information, and before the raging waves could swallow everything, fled north through the storm and mud toward the mountains of the Iranian plateau. They ran, while behind them the entire history of humanity turned into a watery graveyard. The storm ended. the waters calmed, and a new world began from scratch, populated by humans whose minds had been formatted, now slaves to the new system. The reptilians thought they had won. They thought all ancient knowledge was buried on the dark floor of the Persian Gulf. But they didn't know one thing. The 12 companions of Mitra had taken the awakening codes with them to the heart of the Iranian plateau. They needed a place safe from any storm, any flood, and any attack. A stone vault deep underground to lock away this information. A place that slept in silence for 11,000 years until another flood washed the dirt away to reveal it. In the next video, we go to Giroft, the place where the codes of the world's oldest data center were engraved on stones. Codes that today's global system is terrified of being read. History is written by the victors, but we awaken the truth. Welcome to the real world, uncensored and undistorted. The Atlantis of the Persian Gulf was buried under billions of tons of dark water. The shadows breathed a sigh of relief, thinking they had forever erased Earth's memory and humanity's most dangerous weapon, consciousness. But amidst the terrifying howl of the storm and the black waves devouring everything, 12 shadows ran through the mud and the dead of night, heading toward the highlands of the Iranian plateau. They were the 12 companions of Mitra, the ancient Magi. Engineers who pulled the cosmos's most vital asset out from the heart of the flood, the awakening source codes. Codes that, if they fell into the hands of the system, would lock human DNA in the Matrix forever, and we would remain slaves for eternity. Welcome back to Project Awakening. Today we travel back 11,000 years to the day the Magi decided to build the largest and most mysterious underground vault in history to preserve this cosmic knowledge. The ancient city of Giroft. The Magi knew that in the new post-flood world, scrolls would rot, metals would rust, and optical crystals would go dark without the main grid. To preserve the genetic codes for millennia, they needed Earth's most resilient material, something capable of holding frequency within itself: stone. Deep in the lush and mysterious valley of the Halil River, modern-day Giroft, they began constructing ancient hard drives, vessels and tablets made of chlorite stone. Today's academic archaeologists and system historians will tell you these are merely decorative carvings of eagles, snakes, scorpions, and humans. Just another naive deception to divert our minds. These geometric lines on the stones of Giroft were not art. They were ancient binary codes. A stone programming language based on sound resonance.
The Magi engraved the frequency of consciousness onto these stones and buried them deep within the Earth's layers. Girafft became Earth's stone data center, a dormant hard drive meant to hibernate for 11,000 years, waiting for the day human frequency would rise high enough to decode them again. But in this dark matrix, no data center survives without a firewall and security guard. Sooner or later, the shadows scanning the Earth would realize the codes had been smuggled out. To protect Girafft, the Magi established a top-secret military garrison 1,100 kilometers away in the bone-chilling cold of modern-day Meshkin Shar, Shahar Yeri, the city of Yeri. If you visit the Yeri region today, you will face a chilling and terrifying sight. 537 massive standing stones. They all have human faces and wear swords at their waists, but none of them have mouths. Official history claims these are symbols of silent worshippers, but the truth is infinitely darker, more violent, and ruthless.
These are not statues. They were the silent guardians, the most elite and loyal warriors of the Mitra network, who voluntarily underwent a horrific frequency surgery. Their vocal cords were completely burned away using focused acoustic technology, so they would lose the ability to speak forever. Why? Because if they were captured by the reptilians in future battles, no amount of torture would ever force a single word about the location of the Girafft data center from their mouths. They drew their swords and stood in deadly silence for thousands of years, ensuring the secret of human awakening would never be leaked. For millennia, this data center was in absolute slumber. Its security guard, the mute sword-bearing sentinels of Shahar Yeri, 1,100 kilometers away, with their vocal cords burned, stood in deadly silence, so no one would find the location of this vault. But the Magi's plan was flawless. In the year 2001, nature executed its mission. A massive, devastating flood swept through the Halil River in Girafft. This flood was not a natural disaster. It was Earth's awakening system, washing away tons of dirt to bring history's greatest secret back to the surface. Suddenly, thousands of strange chlorite stones covered in geometric lines, snakes, scorpions, and complex architecture burst forth from the mud. Earth's stone data center had finally been opened. What was the reaction of the system and the shadows? They panicked. They acted swiftly, gathering these stones and locking them behind the glass cases of museums worldwide. The system's salaried archaeologists told us these are merely decorative vessels and the handiwork of ancient peoples. A blatant lie. These are not bowls for food and water. They are ancient binary codes, a language of sound resonance that today's system is terrified of being read. The sacrifice of the mute guard of Yekri and the data center of Girafft preserved the source codes. The source codes emerged from beneath the dirt, but the shadows, despairing of physically finding the codes, adopted a dirtier, psychological strategy.
To neutralize them, they injected the virus of forgetting into Earth's atmosphere and unleashed it upon humanity. By continuously transmitting dark electromagnetic static into the atmosphere, they made humans forget themselves, the power of the God within them, and the true history of this planet. Human brains were shutting down under this heavy static. The surviving Magi realized that merely hiding the codes underground was not enough. They knew that to break this static, they needed massive telecommunication towers to broadcast the awakening signal across the Earth once again. They needed antennas to pierce through the shadow's static and connect directly to higher dimensions and the stars.
In the next video, we go to Tepe Sialk, the first consciousness-transmitting antenna raised above the Iranian plateau, where the frequency war enters a new phase. History is written by the victors, but we awaken the truth. Welcome to the real world, uncensored and undistorted. The mute guardians of Yenekari sewed their lips shut so the secret of the Jiroft data center would remain safe deep beneath the soil. But the shadows, having lost hope of finding the codes physically, changed the game. They fired the dirtiest weapon in history into Earth's atmosphere, the virus of forgetting, an electromagnetic parasitic storm designed to permanently shut down cosmic memory and the human genome. The surviving Magi realized that hiding underground was no longer enough. To sever this dark parasite, the Earth needed a transmitting antenna to fire back the frequency of awakening. So they traveled to the central plateau to build the largest ancient telecommunication tower. But this antenna didn't run on cables and metal. The system's archaeologists will tell you that these bodies were not just corpses. They were biological capacitors, humans who with their own red-stained bones became the batteries for a massive urban motherboard, all so we could remain awake today. Welcome to the next episode of Project Awakening. Today we travel to Kashan and face one of the most mysterious anomalies in history, a crucial node in time known as Tepe Sialk. When the shadows counterattacked and the virus of forgetting settled over the Earth like a black mist, humans slowly began to lose their connection to the cosmos and even to their own genome. The memories of the Persian Gulf Atlantis and the glory of Jamshed were fading into myth. The surviving Magi reached the central plateau of Iran, the place we now call Kashan. But they hadn't come to build houses or farm the land. They had come to construct the largest receiver and transmitter of consciousness in Earth's history, the Ziggurat of Sialk. The system's history books tell you this is just a hill of mud and clay,
But let's look at it through the lens of quantum physics and materials engineering. The Magi didn't build the bricks of Sialk from ordinary clay. These bricks were synthesized with a high percentage of silica or quartz. In modern physics, quartz has a property known as the piezoelectric effect, meaning if you subject this stone to physical pressure, it generates electricity and frequency. The massive ziggurat of Sialk, with millions of quartz bricks stacked upon each other, was actually a colossal stone battery. The weight of the upper tiers compressed the lower tiers, turning this man-made mountain into a frequency-generating reactor. But every antenna, to fire its signal across the atmosphere, needs a power supply. It needs capacitors to store the energy. And here, the darkest and most shocking secret of Sialk is revealed. A secret the system's salaried archaeologists tried to cover up using the word religion. The inhabitants of Sialk didn't bury their dead in graveyards outside the city. They concealed the bodies right beneath the floors of the very rooms they lived in, but not laid out flat. The bodies were folded into a fetal or compressed position, and across all the bones they scattered a fine red dust. That red dust wasn't paint, it was pure iron oxide powder, the most conductive material found in nature, possessing an intense magnetic field. The Magi buried these iron oxide-soaked bodies in the fetal position, which is actually the physical form of coils and energy transmission loops in sacred geometry, right beneath the city floor. These figures were no mere corpses. They were the biological capacitors of this network. By doing this, the Magi connected the DNA frequency and vibrational energy of their ancestors directly to the ziggurat's quartz grid. The entire city of Sialk was a massive motherboard built upon batteries made of red bone and ancient blood. A closed-loop energy cycle designed to produce the most powerful signal of awakening. The shadows were relentlessly executing an electromagnetic bombardment from orbit, and at any moment the Sialk Tower could be detected and destroyed. The Magi knew that if this tower fell, the blueprint to rebuild it must never be forgotten. So they executed a masterstroke of security: open-source blueprints. If you go to museums today and look at the excavated pottery of Sialk, you will see motifs of ibexes with highly exaggerated, elongated horns, alongside geometric lines and triangles. They tell you this is pottery art and animal painting. Don't be fooled by this simple facade. These were not paintings. These were electronic diagrams and the wiring schematics for the Sialk Tower. The long horns of the ibex symbolized receiving antennas for cosmic waves. The triangles were symbols for nodes and frequency-amplifying transistors. The Magi engraved the engineering schematics of this massive motherboard onto thousands of everyday pottery and handed them to the people. They didn't hide the technology. They hard-coded it into the heart of daily life, so that if the shadows leveled the city to ash, the survivors could rebuild the antenna using these very clay vessels.
the operation began. The frequency operators, trained since childhood for this exact moment, stationed themselves at the highest point of the ziggurat. Using ancient throat-singing techniques, they synchronized the resonance of their voices with the quartz bricks and the subterranean bone capacitors. The antenna powered on. A massive wave of consciousness, invisible yet violently powerful, was fired from the heart of the Iranian plateau into the sky, tearing through the black veil and the shadows static. The frequency of awakening coursed through Earth's atmosphere once again. The Magi had done their job. They transmitted the signal, but they knew Sialk's time was up. After the transmission, to prevent this technology from falling into the hands of the reptilians and the Dark Army, they voluntarily buried the city under layers of soil and ash and vanished in absolute silence. But the signal reached its destination. Sialk's frequency neutralized the virus of forgetting in sectors of the Earth, and the awakening codes flared back to life in another part of the plateau. 5,000 years ago, in the east of this land, a city rose from the dust where there was no military fortress, no sword, and no army. There was no need for conventional weapons, because they were building the ultimate weapon, a colossal cybernetic laboratory. A place where they cracked open skulls using microscopic surgery and implanted artificial eyes of pure gold with half-millimeter capillaries right into human eye sockets. The Shadows thought humanity had grown weak, but the companions of Mitra were actively executing biological upgrades on their army. In the next episode of Project Awakening, we step into the darkest and most advanced hardware factory of the ancient world. Welcome to the Burnt City. History is written by the victors, but we awaken the truth. Welcome to the real world, uncensored and undistorted.